Well, hello, everybody. Welcome back. This is your best life update.
Best life update from home.
From home.
Little chat, a little personal life update, a little bit of.
Yeah, it's kind of a combination of that because it is a little bit of a coffee chat. And
I don't have coffee. I drank it all.
I offered
already.
you some,
but I drank too much already, and I would be like this.
Yeah.
I'm already a little overhyped as it is.
This is my first cup.
Really?
Yeah. Katie never has a second cup at home. Does anybody remember that?
I was gonna say yeah, I do.
That was a little
Is that
commercial
a commercial
for like
oh,
I forget what coffee brand, but
it's definitely not Folgers.
it might be.
Really?
It might be an old like a couple will be at a restaurant and more coffee, sir? Sure. Don't mind if I do, and she's like, she looks over and in her brain, you hear the echoey voice in her brain going, Jim never has a second cup of coffee at home.
Oh, that's a good, that actually sounds like a good commercial. Like, I'm interested. I was like,
yeah, well, because she's like, he doesn't get a second cup of my
do
coffee.
That with me.
Right. So she's offended.
She's like,
right. And so then they're like, oh, Folgers crystals, I believe that's what it was.
No way.
And then they cut to the payoff and they're in the kitchen and he's like, hey, honey, can I get another cup? And she's like,
I bought Folgers
crystals. And then,
or whatever it may be.
Yeah, the payoff to the.
Dude, that's great. Well, we're going to talk about the weather. It's a little gloomy. It's been very depressing.
We've had, this is the time of year we get it. And I could say the cliche thing of like, we needed it, which we did.
He's being Phyllis from The Office.
Yeah.
This just makes me want to cuddle up with a cup of tea or coffee with a book.
Yeah, didn't they? It's like they had a list
and they were list.
Like, okay, it was like a checkoff list of like, she's going to say.
Comment below if you know the episode we're talking about.
It was almost like did they do it like a pool, like a football pool?
I think it was something like that, but it was like
Like, oh, Jim, you had curl up with a book.
Or it was
nice,
like there was 10 they had to get, and it was like about the driving. So anyway, we're gonna be Phyllis today.
No, it is, but it is true. We get it like later in the year, and it is true that we need it. But it's also true that we don't need it because of everything in the hills and the burn zones and all that stuff. It causes a lot of problems.
Away.
Oh, it is.
It's kind of reminding me of...
it's problematic. And
it reminds me of The Lion King.
Yeah.
Like, do you remember in The Lion King when, Simba comes back to Pride Rock and the rain comes down and, like, it washes everything dead and gross and burned away?
It's like a transition. I see what you mean.
But I'm hoping everywhere that burned will end up looking like it did at the end of The Lion King. That's in my brain, I think, in terms of Disney.
Well,
that's how it goes.
Yeah, in that cycle, because it is like kind of a cycle of life in a sense of, things rise from the ashes, and even, isn't it oak trees that have to burn to propagate because
I don't know.
The seeds have to be heated enough to pop open, and it's only a fire that can cause that.
It's like a pine tree or something?
Maybe it's a pine tree. I don't know. Anyways, I don't know much.
You heard that about?
I try to use nature analogies. You know what we're trying to say.
Tree folklore. Now, if you watched our DCA video, you saw how gloomy and ugly it was. It was really, again...
Spoiler alert.
This is for everybody who saw. It was our DCA update fail. I wanted to touch on a couple of things about that, though.
Yeah.
So there was a really good comment, and I thought, you know what, I want to chat about that when we do this Best Life update, because it was something to the effect of like, the wait times, the posted wait times are always off
at the attraction itself.
Yes.
The physical.
Yes. Even on the app. We've heard people say that too.
Sure.
We've said it. You've watched us walk by. I think the one that I always say is totally not correct is Pirates.
Yeah, because it's a people eater, as we've always said, and it moves so fast that...
And then sometimes, though, it's totally wrong in the fact that it'll say 25 minutes, and you're like, no. That ain't 25 minutes. And we're looking at like 40.
So what's the debate here?
So the debate is, we were looking at the attractions when we were filming that video. What was it, day before yesterday?
Mm.
And we were like, oh my gosh, like Monsters Inc. is saying it's an hour or 55 minutes. There's a couple of things I wanted to point out. Number one, when you are looking at a wait time at Disneyland, let's just say we're looking at the Matterhorn and it says 35 minutes, right?
Yeah.
There are so many different, what do you call them, like variables, right, that could happen. You could have 4 people that are needing assistance getting in,
Yeah.
and that could change it by an extra 10 minutes. When I look at a wait time sign, I look at it and go, oh, that's an average. So it'll be about 35 minutes. Might be 40, might be 25.
Right.
That's how I look at it.
There's also the layer of the signs and the times being adjusted or not catching up to an adjustment yet.
Mm-hmm.
And it could be on both sides of that. It could be that, it says 15 minutes when you walk into the queue, and by the time you round that first corner, it maybe had changed behind you and said 40, and you didn't see it, but
Yeah.
you're going to be in for at least a little bit more than you expected. So there's that variable. That does happen. Or, on the other side of it as well, it could decrease, and you walk into a line that says 40 minutes and you're like, dude, that was only 20 minutes. And then you come out and you realize, look, the line's hardly even there anymore. So
it's just, it's a constantly fluctuating thing. And I've been going to Disneyland and doing this for long enough to know that I can look at an attraction, and I'm not saying I'm 100% accurate. I'm not a computer. But at this point in my life...
It's like a feel thing.
Yeah, at this point in my life, I can look at the Pirates attraction, and within, I'm going to say, about 10 to 15 minutes of accuracy, I can look at it and say, it's going to be about
and you're talking about based on where the line is at the time.
Is, how the crowd
is prior to getting there.
There is this thing when it comes to Disneyland. There is this vibe of the park when you've been going long enough and frequently enough and consistently enough that you can kind of feel the vibe.
Well, and there's certain variables that can dictate that. Adventureland entrance, that one is like, that's how you can really tell how the park is. And then when you get to like New Orleans Square as a whole, you can kind of see like, okay, converging points of the park.
You also just know by, you can kind of tell when it's Christmas. Is this going to be, let's just say, for example, Christmas is a good one. There's a ton more tourists there than normal.
Yeah.
So attractions kind of seemingly go a little bit slower because they've never been here before. Or they haven't been here in 2 years, 3 years, whatever it may be. So they're not going to be as efficient as getting off and on an attraction. Whereas, like, you've kind of been there those days where you just know it's a lot of locals. They've done this a billion times. They're like, right?
Sure.
You can kind of feel that too. And I know this might sound a little crazy, but I'm telling you, again, I would say with about 75 to 80% accuracy, I'm at the point where I can look at an attraction like Monsters, Inc. and when it says 60 minutes, I know you're going to be in that queue for at least 50.
Yeah.
Right? So,
well, and
the way we look at it is very different from somebody that is looking at it and going, "Oop, that's going to be 60 minutes," because you could go through with a stopwatch and you will never always get the same thing. It's always going to be different. Even if somebody with that little red tag went through previously and
she's talking about the thing that they'll give you a lanyard with a little red card on it sometimes, and they're trying to see how long it takes for the line, because then they'll report back to the person okay, the red card's here, and they'll time it to see how long it took to get through the ride. So if you ever get that, it's kind of a special thing. I like the old red card thing. It's kind of like a cool like rite of passage. Like, dude, I got the red card.
So even if you take that red card, though, and you just got 25 minutes, right? They clocked it at 25. They did it with another person. They got 25. You did it with another person. They got 30. And they go, okay, we're going to post this wait sign at 30. So it's between 25 and 30 minutes. Again, I still look at it with the variables and go, okay, you might be in the line about 25 minutes, and then you also know the attraction.
Sure.
Some are slower.
Yep.
And some are faster.
That's what I was going to say, that it's attraction dependent because we know monsters. I've seen it, say, 15 minutes, and we round that corner to the hidden queue that's back there, and it's like, oh, hello. So it's just certain attractions that we know that we can trust as far as the time that we see, or we know how much it's fudgeable on either side. You know.
And again, you can't look at an attraction sign and think it's definitively one time.
Right.
Again, you have to look at a 25-minute wait. And even if you don't know anything about the attraction, there's literally nobody in the fast pass queue.
Yeah.
You still have to look at it and go, okay, it's plus or minus about 10 to 15 minutes on either end.
Right. And we're going into it. That's what I was going to say, was that's the logic that's in our brains, and we don't even really talk about that, is when we look at it objectively and think, okay, if it says 40, that means it's going to be anywhere from 30 to 50 or you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's
what
already
I do.
That's already in our brain.
Yeah.
We're not like going, oh, look, it's exactly 40. I don't think we've ever thought that.
Well, that's why I think it's so ludicrous. If you were to go through with a stopwatch and do that every single day, multiple times a day, you are constantly going to get variables.
It's their best estimation. It's their best guesstimate that they can make, and they do their best at it. And
now,
there is another point though. About the lightning lane system.
Yeah, and making it look longer so that they can sell more. That is definitely a thing.
Yes. Now, that's only fudgeable, like to a certain degree, I think, to where it's obvious. But I think that also plays into, it's almost equal to the amount that we look at it and go, okay, give or take 15 with that estimate up there. It's the same thing.
Yeah, again,
it's all the same thing when it comes to time. So
another good point is like Matterhorn. You may have the posted wait time at 30 minutes, but they decide that they're going to pull 2 bobsleds off the track.
Yeah,
that's going to change if you happen to be in the queue at that time. That's going to change.
Or something stops the flow on one of the sides.
Well, like I said, sometimes people
just the variables.
Maybe that's a handicapped person is going to need. You may have 5 people that need extra transition help to get in. That could happen. So you just don't know. But that was my point. Is like if we're ever showing you wait times on our channel, we're giving you our best. And again, I can only say with about 80, maybe 80% accuracy.
Yeah.
We're not computers, but at this point in my life and possibly yours, I think we can look at attractions and go, well, and it's going to be about 40.
And to be fair, what was it that day? It was like at Monsters. It was like 50?
I think it was like 55 or 60 maybe.
So in our brains, when that happens, the last thing I'll say about it, even if it was less than that, it's not going to be less by too much. It's going to be less by like 10 or 15. Right.
So you're still looking at a 40-minute queue.
I'm still not doing that.
Yeah.
So I guess that was our point of why we were like, whoa, because we didn't show our work. You know how when you're in school and you do the math problem and the teacher wants you to show your work and show how you got to that point. We don't necessarily do that, because we go there so much that we don't show our work all the time. So that's what that was. But it was a good question, or it was a good comment.
No, it was a really good comment.
That brought up
super...
that discussion, because people ask a lot. It's one of the main questions we get next to, I think it's the second most, but the first question we get always is like, what's the best day to go when it's less crowded, which is it's the same kind of question of like, there's so many variables involved, especially now with reservations. So.
Yeah, with reservations though, but I appreciated that comment because it really did, like, it was very eye-opening. It's very much like, there's so many variables. There's a little bit of a curve of like, hey, I know this. I've been doing this for a long, long time. Almost 40 years when I think about that.
That's scary.
35 to 40 years. So anyway, appreciated that comment, and I'm glad we got to touch on it.
This next thing we're going to talk about is really related. It was just kind of a subset almost of what we were just talking about in terms of critiquing Disneyland as we do. And I think we're a little bit unique in the fact that we are a little bit more unhinged about it. I don't know if that's the right word, but we're a little bit more open to that and doing that. And we don't have any fear about critiquing. And I'm an artist, and in the art world, critique is it's part of it. Your peers and the people that you are showing art to or selling art to, or just, like I said, showing it, or, putting it out there. Their critique is that's how they feel about it. It's an important thing, especially if you're trying to do something for the public, or, whatever. So critique is constructive criticism, and it's welcomed in most creative communities that I've been aware of. And I always appreciate it. And I love when my friends check me, and, that's what Dylan does when he's there. Katie does it all the time with my work, and they're new to that stuff as far as the graffiti thing. So that's a good kind of analogy for it. But when we critique Disneyland, sometimes we take a little flack for it. And the thing I think that we want to discuss about that is, in our defense, is that it's a critique, and that the thing that we're critiquing was literally an artistic endeavor to begin with, Disney, right?
And I think there's also another point I wanted to make about that. There's a difference between, saying, ooh, I'm here, I'm not liking this, I wish this wasn't like this.
Right.
I'll complain about things too. Like, that's what I'm here to do, is to be my authentic self. And I would be lying to you all, and I would not be actually Katie if I was to sit there and go, oh, I dislike this, but it's great, and I'm just, that's not me.
Right.
Like, I complain about things. I am probably one of the most unpolished people.
The complaints, to be fair, are rooted in
between that,
in trying to course correct something that has gone way off course.
Right. And I think the other thing is, though, that I wanted to point out, though, there is a big difference between being yourself, being honest, and just being like a straight up hater. Like, we don't go to Disneyland to go sit there and be haters. You have to understand, like I said, I cry sometimes because and it might sound like kind of cringy and corny, but I kind of cry about what we lost. Like, I really do. It was such a deep part of the foundation of who makes me the Disney adult that I am, Disneyland adult that I am. So my point is, though, is there's a big difference between being a hater and just being a negative butthead. Also, there's a big difference, though, between what I'm doing, where I'm feeling something and I just want to share it. Same with Spence.
Also, in regards to that, I think that any of that criticism is welcomed by that company. They listen to all of it, and they don't take it emotionally, because it's a business, for one. For two, that's why they send out surveys. That's why they used to stand in the park at the exit and take surveys. They want to hear your complaints. It's part of, keeping it good for everybody. They want to know what they're doing wrong. Most companies do. So when we get, we'll get a nasty comment about, like, defending something that we have maybe, critiqued. It's almost as if it's like, like you're a bully and all this, and it's like, how is a consumer of a product of $1 billion corporation a bully in just critiquing something? Do you know what I'm saying? It doesn't make sense that, like, they don't care. And if anything, they actually welcome it. So the misplaced defense of some of this stuff, like, almost like, what did Disney do to you? And it's like, it's just this whole, like, wow, you're really missing the mark, because
there's a big difference.
That has nothing to do with it. You're speaking in emotion.
And you're taking it personal.
And this has nothing to do with it, because to them it's a business, and they are not thinking emotionally at all. So
now, that's different, though, when it comes to the media thing. When it comes to Disney, Disneyland, Disney World.
What are you talking about, media?
Like, if you're on the media list, they don't want your negative critiques. They only want positive, because that is...
And that's their prerogative. They can do that.
They can, and that's the reality. But yeah. I guess that's the other point, is like, yeah, for the normal guest or the people that aren't on their media list, like people like us, we're going to say it like it is, tell you the truth, and let you come to the conclusions that you want. But we just wanted to tell you, there are people that take it so literal and so emotionally, and they tie it up into them when it's a critique, like they take it personal, and just don't. I don't, like I said, I get sad about how it used to be and how it's not. But
most of our critique, comes from...
I don't think it's a personal attack on me.
No, but most of the most of our critiques on Disneyland are things that they have taken away or lessened or cheapened. Mm-hmm. That is most of our critique. I would say 95% of it is about things that they have taken away, cheapened, or made more expensive, or, in that kind of notion. So we're trying to protect what we thought was the best experience in our minds. Mm-hmm. And people from maybe a generation before us would say, yeah, but even before you guys started going to Disneyland in the 70s, it was even cooler because we had this, this, and this, which is probably true. But as these things start to dwindle away and the product starts to get very like lessened and cheapened, I don't know how else to put it. We feel like we're just the defenders of what was and what it should still be and what's so great about it. That's all we're doing. And we have the
luxury of social media, so we can share that. Whereas back in the 70s and whatnot, they didn't have a way to do that.
We also have the luxury of, like, I was there in the 70s and 80s. I was a kid consuming that in the heart of what I thought was the best time at Disneyland. So, please don't mistake any of that as like, we hate Disneyland or we just are angry at Disneyland or something like that. No, we're sad to see Disneyland turned into something else, because Disneyland to us represents, all these great things that they are slowly kind of taking away or charging more money for, or making it unattainable for people, regular families, to go there. It's so expensive for them that they can't go and their kids can't go. It's terrible. So that's where the critique comes from. And
it doesn't help us to not tell you the truth.
Yeah.
And I know some people say like, well, I tune in because I just want to get out of my world and I just want to be happy and whatnot.
Yeah.
And there are, we try to do that as much as we can, but we also, you do have to balance it. It is a tough job because we want to be honest, but then we also want to give you that escapism. But then I think the escapism you should feel confident in knowing that you're hanging out with the real us. Like the imperfect, you know what I mean? Like we don't want to sell you on something that we're not, and we're not going to go there and be like, everything's perfect.
Well, and that's a great point. And that's a great point, because that leads to like, hey, if you don't like it and you don't like us, that's fair.
Yeah.
That's how the world is. Right. And at least the thing that you don't like, exactly what it is.
Yeah.
We've given it to you straight, as far as like, we don't like Katie and Spence because of whatever. Cool. And you took us for our face value and what we were putting out there, and you don't like it. I like that more than being accused of something that's a complete lie and people basing judgments off a lie. I would rather you judge it off of, I don't like that they came on here and said that they deserve to critique Disneyland, or whatever. Cool. That is so fair, all that stuff. So with that said, we move on. I wanted to express gratitude and thanks to everybody who either commented or was in the live, donated super chats, watched the video, commented on Instagram. There was so much support for when we painted in Long Beach. And I say we because when I do these things, it's a team effort with Katie and I, and then Dylan obviously is part of that team. It takes a village, especially at my age. I'll be honest, I don't do that a lot. And so it just takes a lot of coordination and planning and effort and people's time, other people's time, to sit there and in an alley with me. It takes a village. It's a lot of moving parts and a lot of dedication to be there and dedicate your time to sitting in an alley with spray paint and whatever happens kind of thing. Because
I think it's fun.
It's always a little bit unhinged. You just never know what's going to happen because you're out in public. I think that is the fun part of it. So thank you to everybody. And, if you haven't seen that video, or maybe it's not your flavor, go check it out. You can watch it for a little while.
I think she sees a squirrel.
She sees a squirrel out there.
She's like,
we have a squirrel that runs along the back wall, and she,
I think she spotted.
She's a squirrel hunter. When we take her to the park, it's like we have to keep her on a leash when there's squirrels around, because she will just take off.
Yeah, look at her. She's locked on. She starts shaking.
Yeah, she might start growling. You never know. Jeez. We also have one of our
air vents
on the roof, like half the neighborhood. After it rained, and then it dried out, all the rubber
The silicone,
seals
I
or
think.
whatever are
Yeah.
all squeaking. So you may hear that. I don't know.
I don't know. You
Probably not on the mic,
won't.
but it's been pretty funny. It
It's
sounds
just
like
a little bit, but
sounds like a fire alarm or something. What is that?
yeah,
sound?
tomorrow we have to go up and re-silicone, I think it is, or just replace it.
I gotta go climb on the roof. Yeah, and every time we hear the sound, it's always actively raining. So I'm like, yeah, I'm not going on the roof in the rain.
No,
Um,
you'd be like Tim Allen and the Santa Claus.
yeah, no, we're not doing that.
Actually, the not Tim Allen, it was the Santa. He fell off the roof.
Oh yeah,
Back to the graffiti, like you were talking about. The next one, like we said in the video, the last one we did about the graffiti, the next one is Vegas.
yeah,
I am so excited. That's coming up in like a couple of weeks. That came real fast.
yeah. Time is a flying, and I'm excited about that too because we've been trying to get back to Vegas. We would have been there anyways, I think.
Yeah, also the thing is too, we were kind of prolonged because of the fire.
Yeah.
That really threw us off. Plus, I got I think I got a cold like twice during. It was like December,
Yeah.
January, something like that. Maybe it was February. I don't even remember. It's all a blur.
Yeah, we were planning on going up there, and then the fire thing. It really set us back because I couldn't. I know she felt the same way. I couldn't leave town until things were kind of like a little settled, and they're kind of in that weird settled place right now. I don't know. How would you call it? It's such a weird thing. But
Well, it's not anything actively happening, I guess.
Yeah, so we're kind of in a limbo state. Obviously, the rains and the mudslides are an issue, but so we're in a limbo state, which allows us obviously to accommodate going back to Vegas. And I'm so excited because we're doing the art show. I'm painting something for the art show in the space because it's going to be like a party, like an event type thing.
Yeah, it's a little bit different than what you did in Long Beach, whereas in Long Beach that was kind of like the chill hanging out with friends and doing that, whereas this is going to be a little bit more event.
Yeah, and
would you say?
Yeah, and the painting process, probably be a couple people doing it too, so it could be that same kind of vibe.
And then like some
we'll see.
stuff. Yeah,
we'll see what happens. And then some friends are going to be there selling some of their art, and they do this kind of stuff a lot and do art shows and all that stuff. So that'll be fun. And we'll do Vegas stuff.
I'm really excited just to be there.
Yeah,
is going to be great. Like sorry, I'm cracking up.
I know. I just noticed she's leaning over.
She's still like leaning.
It snowed there yesterday.
Wait, what? In Vegas?
Yeah.
For like parts of Vegas?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if it snowed on the Strip, but I know I saw a couple Instagram things from people saying Vegas, it's snowing, and it snowed a lot of places because it was kind of cold.
Dude, even Jackie and Shadow, they got snow.
Yeah, a lot of snow. She's talking about the eagles that we watch on this camera up in Big Bear.
And you can watch them too. It's
Friends of Big Bear Valley, FOBBV.
It's a constant live stream, and it's been going for like several years.
And they have it like in the tree right there. It's kind of crazy. So we've been watching them, and
they got snow.
They got a lot of snow, and it's almost a good way to check the snow report. It's so funny because it'll pile up on their nest, and the mom will she'll spread her wings out to make kind of like a dome to protect the little chicklets or whatever, and they called it the mombrella.
The mombrella.
Yeah.
Dang.
But she was buried. Yeah. So we've been watching that, and there's 3 of them, which is crazy because there wasn't any last year. They didn't hatch.
Or the year before.
So.
Well, now we woke up this morning and they were saying that one of them isn't there. So it could have been just an obstruction of the camera because you can't see completely inside.
It's one angle, yeah.
But you never know. Anyway, back to Vegas. Speaking of the nests, in the Bellagio, this is the first time we've actually missed a Bellagio conservatory thing. We missed the Lunar New Year display.
We did.
That was because of the fire. We couldn't get up there at all. But I saw that there's like humming. I didn't look completely. I know Dale and Paula will do a very detailed tour video.
But we heard there's hummingbirds.
I heard there's hummingbirds. And like the nests, like that just reminded me. there's like hummingbird nests, and I'm so excited. I think last year, wasn't it like teapots?
I believe
It was
so.
like fairies and teapots and like,
So you can be guaranteed that you will see that when we go up there.
yeah, it's one of those like repeat things we always do. It's like kind of tradition. It's kind of like looking at the Disneyland castle,
Yeah, it is.
right?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. No, it is.
you know, we're gonna also try to make our way back to downtown because you're gonna be in the arts district.
Yeah, we're closer to downtown.
That's where you're painting.
Yeah, yeah.
So I think we'll probably have something to do up there at some point. I'm not sure what, but we'll do it.
There's a lot going on up there.
There is so much going on in Vegas. Did you see they're getting a museum of ice cream?
Yes, I did see that.
Like,
I think now is that
it's all Area 15.
yeah, because what I recall that was in LA and it was called the Museum of Ice Cream and it was one of those interactive photo experiences.
Something
so
like that.
I don't know if it's that or if it's an actual museum of actual ice cream. Do you see what I'm saying?
I think it's a little bit of both, maybe.
Okay.
I don't know.
The one originally it was deceiving because it was just a photo experience,
photo things,
which was cool.
Yeah, I hope that it's not just that.
Yeah.
I hope and I know we could like totally do the research and like check into it and see exactly what it is.
Yeah.
But I haven't done that yet. I just haven't let myself go there. I know I like.
That's another place I definitely want to go back.
What, Area 15?
Area 15, yeah. We haven't been in a while. And I think the first time we went, we still had to wear masks and stuff.
Yeah.
And like I want to
like Omega Mart and all that.
I so badly want to redo every video that we had to do with masks so that because when you're doing YouTube you're kind of like, oh yeah, that's in our archive, we did that, and then you look back and the whole video is us wearing masks and I'm like, dude, I don't want this as our like
that's your memory when it just wasn't normal.
It is an archive of what was, and I'll take that for that, but I would rather have like, oh no, we've got a version where it's like normal.
Yeah.
Because to be fair, we'll still get comments from time to time and people will see one of those videos and I think that they think it's real time or something.
Mm-hmm.
And they'll be like, why are you wearing masks? And I agree with them. Like, yeah, why are we? Oh wait, look at the date. If you don't know what happened in most of 2020 through,
like
21, where were you? So anyways.
But yeah, back onto the Vegas thing.
Yeah.
I'm really excited just to be there. I think it's kind of probably how people feel when they vacation at Disneyland. Like maybe you live up, Northern California.
Well, any vacation for that matter, I would imagine, because you're
just not in your normal.
Yeah. For me, I always feel like when you travel somewhere and you say either you flew somewhere or drove somewhere, when you finally get settled, you get your stuff where you're staying. And then you're like, hey, let's go get something to eat or go, get the lay of the land or just kind of like go outside and walk. Now, how many times we've been to Vegas? I can't even count. And especially how many times we've been to Park MGM? I can't count. But walking out the doors every time we get there, when we hit the boulevard, and you could probably attest to this, it's like, yeah.
It's the best.
And you walk out, we're like, cool, because you're only there to have a really good time. That's your only job when you're there, is to have a really good time.
Yeah.
And they've provided quite an array of things to do while becoming very expensive. There's a lot to do.
What hasn't?
But there's still some stuff that's affordable also. If not everybody has to go and race a $5 million race car, and not everybody has to go and take a helicopter ride. You can do things that are still affordable, even just walking around. For us,
sightseeing,
we enjoy it, and throw a few dollars in a game here and there, and have a drink here and there, whatever. But I do look forward to that.
I do too. There's just so much to see, and the fact that Vegas keeps investing in more things, and it's happening quickly.
Yeah.
I think that's where, because we're at Disneyland, which is technically a big tourist destination in America, that's where I think a lot of our critiques and our frustrations happen, because we keep seeing the everyday ins and outs of stuff constantly being cut and prices raised, whereas Vegas is, for the most part, there's a few things I could say otherwise, but they're raising prices, but they're actually bringing new things. I mean, the big in and out, there's constantly displays. They're doing so much more. By the way, total side note, maybe not side note, but Lisa Vanderpump is opening a hotel.
This
It's
is
going to
the,
be the Cromwell.
she's taken over the Cromwell
Did you
and
hear that?
with the Caesars Corporation, and this is the first time, I believe, this is what I heard, it's the first time that they've done a hotel with a like an icon, like a celebrity, like
Yeah.
as the you know as the brand, I guess
Right.
I should say. So
And I
it'll
think
be
it'll be
interesting. It'll be interesting to see if that happens again somewhere else. If this is if it
the
works,
Gordon Ramsay Hotel.
you never know, or who you never know who. Dana White. Who
It may
knows?
be
Somebody.
dog friendly too, because she's a big
Yeah,
dog person. Like she has
but
a ton of rescues and everything.
Vegas has always kind of been at the forefront of reinventing the experiences, and then everybody kind of following suit if it works. Like you've seen the big thing has been the speakeasy is huge,
Yeah.
the food hall huge, things that have changed the industry out there. So it'll be interesting if the Lisa Vanderpump thing becomes some sort of like
New normally type
yeah
thing.
yeah
Yeah.
like you said, like a Gordon Ramsay or somebody else coming in and that being the draw, or even just aligning somebody as a partner so that you can get their face on the billboard out there or whatever.
Yeah.
Um,
But it's cool. It's like it really excites the two of us. Like we are really excited when we think
well,
of Vegas.
yeah,
It's truly like it's that excitement that there's all these new fun things coming. I don't know, like that's a good
well,
thing, right?
it is. I also think there's been some talk about it's getting very expensive. It's just like Disney. Everything's getting really expensive.
Mm.
But at least that they're working really hard in Vegas to wow you and to impress you
And
and
open
to
new things and do them
right. Like they're
quickly.
going to charge you a lot, but they're going to give you an experience. They're not undercutting.
Right.
They're plussing as opposed to minusing. It seems like they're minusing at Disney right now. They're plussing in Vegas. They're doubling down. If you're going to use gambling analogies, they're pressing. They're not pulling their money down. They're pressing their win.
Right.
They're keep because I think if you build a hotel, I remember hearing this years ago, the hotel's paid off in like a couple of years,
Wow.
and they even are like they don't expect them to last after 10. They're at least after 10 they're going to refurb them at least. But
It kind of
you know
it makes me laugh. Did you hear how many people tried to spin the rumor about Circus Circus?
yeah, that was sad. It was that rumor was dispelled really early on, but for some reason social media wanted to just keep on with it
There was something because you're taking two very, very different things. You're taking Disney and you're taking Vegas,
well,
and it was such a hot ticket,
it's
you know.
it was I mean, look, it was a
pretty
good
funny.
it was a good rumor to start because of the climate of Sony and Warner Brothers doing the studio up there.
And then Universal.
And Universal, it like kind of made sense because Circus Circus was more kid friendly with the all the games,
It
all that stuff.
was, yeah.
So it was a good fit for a rumor. I will give it that. Whoever started it, props to you. The people that tried to keep it going after it was dispelled, nice
That
try,
was pretty funny.
nice try. But yeah, no, it is I think up for sale if I'm not mistaken.
That's what I don't know for sure.
I think it is, but I don't know. Who really knows? There's people that are more qualified to
yeah, there's a
talk
lot of
about that kind of stuff in
Vegas
Vegas.
people that's what they do for.
Yeah.
That's what they're just like we do with Disneyland. That's what they do with
critique
Vegas.
all that because they have the info. But we're just consumers in Vegas. We just go as tourists in a sense and enjoy ourselves. And
I would say frequent tourists. That's what we do.
frequent flyers.
Frequent
Yeah.
flyers. We love it. It's exciting. It's I don't know. I just love it, and I'm really excited. We're going in a couple of weeks. Can you believe that?
I can't. And I keep putting it out of my mind. I just watch vlogs because I watch a lot of Vegas vlogs. I'll be fair. You guys know, and I've said it a million times, I don't watch any Disney stuff anymore. I keep it pure, but I do watch a lot of Vegas stuff and amongst a lot of other things. But that is one thing that I consume. So I've been, getting ready, watching some Vegas vlogs.
Excited.
And I watch a lot of gambling stuff because that way I don't have to spend money. I can live vicariously through these guys that are betting out of control.
That's wild.
It's wild. They gamble every day. It's like, like how there's daily vlog channels. Well, there's daily gambling channels. Every day these guys are dropping.
I could never.
I don't know how they do
it. I could never watch that. That would frustrate me.
Oh, it's amazing. It's so fun. So yeah, we're excited about Vegas. And speaking of desert destinations, Desert X.
Yes, in Palm Springs, if you have watched this channel for any length of time, you know that Palm Springs is also in our rotation. That's like one of the places we go. It's kind of like Lake Tahoe, except a little more frequent than Tahoe.
She means that in terms of the frequency that we go, not that it's like Lake Tahoe.
No.
It's very different from Lake Tahoe.
No. I mean, like, it's in the Best Life rotation.
Yes.
You know, like we're there every few months, I would say.
Yeah, we'll drop in there, you know, here and there.
This would have been like the primo time we would have went, but it actually ended up raining there.
Yeah.
We looked, we were kind of ready to go yesterday, but then we looked and we're like, oh man, this storm, dang it, it made it over to Palm Springs.
It did, but what that does is it blankets the San Jacinto Mountains that are right there. And I'm excited to go see Desert X with the snow on the mountains.
So what exactly is Desert X again?
So Desert X,
everybody knows.
Desert X is basically a sculpture, urban sculpture thing that happens.
Like an art installation?
Yeah, they're installations that get put up. I think there's like 8 or 9 of them this time.
Oh, dang.
And they're scattered throughout Palm Springs and outer lying areas. And people go and check them out and experience them. And they're usually just visually stunning. A lot of times there's a focus on indigenous cultures.
There's a lot of thought-provoking,
yeah,
I would say.
I'm probably massacring the description of it, but it's really visually, they're stunning sculptures that are out in the wild.
Well, and just Palm Springs in general, I think the reason we go so often is Palm Springs is like outer world. It's magical. It's actually magical. You understand why Walt Disney lived there and why he passed away there. Like, I mean, he went when he knew he was so sick. He went to Palm Springs.
Yeah, last time. Yeah,
right. Like that was Smoke Tree Ranch, man.
Yeah.
But you get it when you're there.
I mean, he passed away in Burbank in the hospital, but what she means is that that's where he went to try to feel better in the some of those final days.
Yep.
So yeah, Desert X it just opened last weekend.
Yeah, and I think it goes till May 11th.
Yes, so it's there for a while. If you can, if you live in the Southland, you can drive out there for a day and go see that stuff. And I
know a lot of people that follow our channel, they like to see what we do and then go and do the whole what we do in a video.
Yeah.
Actually, kind of, I guess it's on subject, but a lot of people have been noticing we've been doing our Los Angeles videos and they've been really, I got a few DMs from some people that said, we went and did the exact same thing you guys did.
Oh, that's awesome.
You know, on a whatever day it was.
Yeah.
And I think that was really cool. Like, that's fun.
It is. And, I never thought of it that way. And it makes perfect sense because, you can, that's kind of a way to do research. Whereas we'll figure out stuff and, like, oh, I know that there's something over here that I remember, and then we'll look stuff up on the internet and we'll find things and whatever, word of mouth.
And then sometimes we just fly by the seat of our pants. Like we just genuinely.
And so in sharing that with you, it gives you guys good insight to do those things that maybe on a day that you were over there, you might not have turned down that street that we did and found the thing that we did or whatever. So that's why it's fun to provide that for you guys, because they're genuinely fun days for us. Mm-hmm. And, exploratory and historical and fun, and a lot of it dog friendly.
Yeah.
So if you have a dog, you can kind of see how to navigate that stuff with where we go a lot and in restaurants and things like that.
I like hearing the history.
Yeah, it's a fun part of it. So we're doing a lot more of those. And, in the rotation, that was something that was left out of the rotation for a long time. I don't think if ever. I think we did a Griffith Park video.
Maybe. And then maybe we never posted it.
Yeah. So anyways, that's happening, which is really awesome. And
I don't know exactly when we will get out there to do the Desert X, but it'll be soon because, again, we kind of have to, pay attention to the weather, It's like if we're going to Palm Springs, you want it to be primo Palm Springs.
Yeah, well, and it's warming up
great.
a little bit, and these are the prime times. Like Palm Springs in the winter is kind of the season, because the summertime, is, you may or may not know, it gets, it's like Arizona out there. It gets like 115, 120 sometimes.
But it's a dry heat.
This is true.
That was another
Is that on the list?
cliche.
It's a cliche.
Not for the Phyllis list, but it's a cliche.
It'll fit any list, yeah. But I think sooner than later. So stay tuned, because we could go tomorrow. You never know. Yeah. That's how we roll here at Best Side
Sometimes, yeah, we try to loosely plan, but then
sometimes you wake up and go, you know what? It looks like one of these days. Let's go.
We did that a lot. Remember during it was like there was a lot of June gloom. I think it was like 2021.
Yeah, where we had June gloom
maybe it was before 2020.
I don't know, but anytime we would have June gloom for any extended period, especially living down at the beach, man, weeks without seeing the sun.
Ooh.
And
I could never live in Seattle.
We literally would drive to wherever this. I'd look on the map and be like, okay, you could see where the cloud layer was going, and it was deep. I remember it was going almost all the way.
We maybe have some vlogs on that. I'm trying to remember.
Yeah, but the layer went all the way to like Redlands, which, if you know how far that is, how deep that is, and we had to drive to Palm Springs for the day just to see the sun, and it was like, oh, it was it's so amazing. And then we had to drive home later, and you could see the big fog bank, the layer, and we had to drive into it. And it was like,
and we're both sun signs, so I think like not having the sun really affects us. Now, let me just preface this. I am not a big heat fan. I've never been. I don't do well in the heat. But as I've gotten older and as I've lost the weight, I am cold all the time now. So I think, and it's only going to get worse as I start to age.
A little circulation problem there, old lady?
No, I'm telling you. And like, I also just found out that I'm 37. I thought I was 38 this whole time. It happened again. This happens all the time. I was on the phone with one of my friends, and Spence was sitting there, and we were talking about birthdays, and I realized that I'm 37. So I gained a whole year. Didn't that happen to you too?
Yeah, because my birthday's in December.
That messes with you too.
So
I have no excuse.
When my year, like my age comes up.
Yeah.
I was born in 1970, so everything is on the 10s for me.
Yeah.
So.
Ooh, that would mess me up.
So like, say we're 1980.
Right.
Say we're in 1980. I'm 9 years old. I have to minus a year, but in my brain, I was born in 1970, so I'm 10.
So it feels like you're 10. Yeah.
And so I would constantly say that I was older when I wasn't, because you want to be older when you're a kid.
Yeah, but also it was
easier math for me to just be on the 10s and go, 70 to 90. Oh, okay, I'm 20.
Right.
So I never honored the year I was. I was like, all right, well, I did, but I did it the year before.
Even when I first met you, you told me you were like a year older than you were, and you're like, oh man, I messed that up. Hold on a minute. And I don't know what my excuse is for doing it. I think numbers are really bad for me in general.
Well, you stop paying attention to birthdays after 21 a little bit. You start to really not really.
Well, I love my birthday. I think it's wonderful. I celebrate all of August.
Well, you're weird. You're not normal.
I'm a Leo queen, and all of us Leos will agree. That's just how it goes.
Yeah, that's how it goes until you start getting to the age where you're like, I don't really care to be this age, so I'm not really going to embrace that number.
But that's what I'm saying. The birthday and all that is a different thing. It's the number. I'm not good with the number. I don't know. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well, you're not good with math in general.
Oh, gosh, no. No, not good with math.
She's not good at math.
No. Very bad. Very, very bad.
And I can explain an easy way to do it for her in her brain, and she doesn't want to hear it. No. She just closes off.
Oh, yeah. It's like I start, that, what is it, that penguin or whatever, when he's just like, or it's, I think it's from Madagascar, whatever that movie is, and he's just like zoning out. Like, that's me. The minute he starts talking about numbers, I'm like, I don't know what you're saying. No. So yeah, that is a big reason we like going to Palm Springs. It's warm. We've got Desert X, and I'm looking forward to the 115 degrees. Like, I don't normally do well with it, but I'm down for it now.
It's like a sauna. It's like going into a sauna,
But not steamy.
No, but it's like, that feeling when
it's heat.
When you get hit with 115 full oven. Body, it's just like, ugh.
I think it's oven more than sauna. Florida feels like sauna. California heat, depending on if it's humid or
No,
not.
it feels like a dry sauna. Like a, what do they call those?
There's a thing called a dry sauna?
Yeah.
Or there is? I
think
didn't
so.
know that.
Like a, or maybe it's called something else.
Ask the Finnish. They're big about saunas.
They are.
Finnish people love saunas. It's probably really good for you.
Yeah, no, it is. That's the they're into that. Norway and all those
Wanna
things.
sauna? Don't
Yeah,
you
the
wanna
sauna's a big
sauna?
deal. What was that? Or steam room, right? Oh, that's the same thing.
I don't think so. I think a
Wasn't
steam
that
room's different.
There was a Seinfeld episode where they go into a
Here we
sauna
go.
and Kramer goes, it's like a sauna in here. It's hot as a sauna in here. And it's like, yeah, we're in a sauna. I think
that is
was
kind
it.
of
I don't
funny,
know.
actually. Anyway, sorry about that. That we got a little sidetracked there. Greta,
That's all right. That's what happens.
what do you think, Greta? She's over. She's like, I'm ready for a
Hold on,
walk.
listen. Yep. You guys didn't hear that? Oh, the mic. Oh, the mic was off. Hold on.
All right. So I hope that kind of gave you a little bit of an update. I'm glad we got to chat about some of the things we had been talking about, like, especially the Disney stuff. We're big Disneyland enthusiasts.
Yep.
So it's fun to chat about that stuff with other people that really like Disney too.
Yeah.
In addition to our everyday lives and what's going on here. And, you can expect some Vegas, like we said, Palm Springs. And we're going to start to, now that the weather's improving, we've got gardening. We have a lot of fun projects around this house that we have to do. I mean, again, we kind of got this house knowing that there were improvements and fixer-ups, or we've got some fixer-upper projects is what I was trying to say, but it wasn't coming out right. I got it, though. I got it.
All right. Well, that's going to wrap it up. Hope you guys enjoyed it. We'll probably do that again where we take a comment or something.
Yeah, it's fun to chat about it. I liked being able to dissect it.
As opposed to just a one-dimensional response that it can be interpreted in 1,000 different ways.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, we had fun. Thanks to our Patrons. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time, everybody. Bye-bye.